Hello, my name is Brooke Ward, and I'm a freshman at FAU majoring in business marketing. In Pablo Picasso's The Dog, created in 1954, the formal elements of shape and volume play an important role in the overall composition and conveyance of the piece's meaning. The shape of the dog in this piece is created with irregular flowing lines and geometric forms that lack the naturalistic detail we might expect in a more traditional depiction. Picasso uses curvy lines and angular shapes, almost childlike, to construct the dog's body, head, and ears. The volume is not in the traditional realistic way with shading or perspective, but through a more abstract approach with shapes and lines suggesting the presence of the volume without directly modeling it. Picasso also plays with the idea of flatness versus volume in the dog's features. The head and the body are rounded in a way that hint at volume, but are primarily re-rendered in two-dimensional space. Because of this, its playful abstraction and simplified forms reminds me of my childhood and growing up with a big imagination. It reminds me of the way children or I once viewed the world. When we're young, we don't see things in their full technical complexity. Instead, we simplify them into essential shapes. For example, a dog might just be a rounded body, some floppy ears, and a happy face. Picasso's abstraction mimics the childlike reduction of forms, which makes me feel a sense of nostalgia. Not to mention, the dog obviously reminds me of my childhood dog as well as my love for dogs in general. I always enjoyed drawing them, and I feel like I always approached my drawings with a certain freedom and not following any rules of realism. This connection to childhood in terms of creativity and seeing the world through simpler, more direct lines makes Picasso's art feel more familiar and also allows me to reflect on early experiences of seeing and creating art. It brings to mind that early, unfiltered joy of creating and interpreting the world without needing everything to be perfect or fully understood.
Hello, my name is Cooper Weiss. I'm a freshman here at FAU and I'm majoring in criminal justice. I chose to talk about the formal element line. The formal element line is used in this drawing to convey texture, movement, and form. The artist uses expressive lines that swirl and overlap to represent the shaggy textured fur of the dog. These lines vary in thickness and density, creating depth and a sense of volume within the figure. The lines in the background suggest motion or wind, adding a dynamic energy to the artwork. The contrasting directions of the lines also guide the viewer's eyes across the piece, emphasizing the forward movement of the dog. The use of the line here is both to define the subject and evoke energy and life. This artwork might have a deeper meaning in how the wild and messy lines show energy and life. The swirling marks don't just show what the dog looks like, they make it feel alive, full of movement and personality. By drawing the dog in such a lively, messy way, the artist might want us to think about the energy and movement that makes life feel real. I can relate this personally to my dog. The first thing I thought about when seeing this drawing was my dog Moose. Moose is a ball of energy. It's like he never runs out of steam. He's always zooming around, chasing after anything that moves. He's always keeping things interesting and making sure that life's never dull. Life with Moose is always an adventure. I really like this piece a lot due to it having a chaotic nature, which is caused by all the lines, and I also really love dogs.
Hi, my name is Adriana Vicioso. I am a freshman at FAU and I'm majoring in criminal justice. Today I will be talking about the color aspect of the painting The Dog by Pablo Picasso. This painting is a very simple line drawing that holds more of a strong meaning through the formal visual elements of line and shape. However, although it lacks a lot of color, it still shows a very high meaning behind the color. The painting itself is already a dog used with black painting on a paper either white or off-white. And although it's lacking color, it's still a very minimalistic approach that Picasso wants to use to the viewers. Color is a very amazing invention. It's actually a way that painters like to show and even make the viewers feel through the painting. Through this painting, we can see that although it lacks color, you can still feel the motion of the dog. This absence of color aligns with Picasso's intent of highlight simplicity and emotion resonance through the form of the gesture of the dog. This specific painting is very different compared to his previous periods, whether it was the blue period or the rose period. This one's a very different one because it's very simple, but it still holds similar values. Picasso can express the same feelings and emotions that he wants the audience to feel. And even, like I said, it's a very minimalistic drawing. You can still feel the playfulness and the charm the dog brings, no matter what language you speak, because through the painting, this painting is a very universal language. This painting relates to me because although it's a minimalistic, like I said, in color, the drawing reflects so much emotion and movement. My life to people outside of it may seem as simple and easy as if it was black and white. But the more you get into my life, you see how many different shades of the black and white it is in my life.
Hello, my name is Jorge Villena. I'm a freshman at FAU and I'm majoring in criminal justice. Today I'm going to be talking about the dog painting by Pablo Picasso. In the dog, Picasso uses minimalistic brushwork to depict an animal as a dog. But light plays a subtle and significant role in the composition. The simplicity of the piece allows the viewer to focus on how light interacts with the background and the figure of the dog. The subdued tonal variations suggest depth and create a sense of space without overwhelming detail. The lightness of the canvas contrasts with the darker lines of the dog's body, draws attention to its form and expression. This interplay of light and shadow emphasizes the dog's vulnerability and evokes an emotional connection. My personal connection to this piece, as someone that loves animals and the human to animal relationship, I love this piece. Who doesn't love dogs? I feel like is something that all humans love. And I also love how Picasso he's creative, but it's also a minimalistic piece, one of his more easier pieces that doesn't get talked about because it's not crazy work. It's just a figure of a dog, and there's not much going on, but you could really see how he did. The dog resonates with me deeply. Its simplicity reminds me of the importance of small details in communication, much like how light influences visual understanding. And personally, I've always loved animals and appreciate how this artwork captures the essence of the dog with such limited strokes, much like how light can define a scene with just a few well-placed highlights.
Hello, my name is Alana O'Neill. I'm a freshman at FAU and I'm studying psychology. I'm choosing to talk about the formal element texture in the painting called The Dog by Pablo Picasso. This element is used by artists to show how something feels. It can either be real or implied. Even though this painting is a two-dimensional piece, the brushstrokes Picasso used draw more attention to the minimalism of the dog than the dog itself. Picasso tends to refrain from using photorealistic texture and uses abstract techniques to give the impression of texture. An example of that is when the strokes are really thick, followed by a watercolored smudge, giving the impression that the dog has texture, but it's not really focusing on the texture itself. In this painting, the use of texture makes the dog seem free-spirited and selfless, meaning he's not trying to portray the dog as a primped and groomed dog, like a stuck-up dog. By using these simple techniques, he draws more attention to the dog's posture, showing curiosity, trying to hint at the idea that you can find beauty in minimalism without everything being so primped and put together. This painting resonates with me because it reminds me of my aunt's old dog, which is an easy-spirited, free-going, loyal dog, and definitely wasn't groomed or primped.
Hi, I'm Kayla. I'm a freshman here at FAU and I'm majoring in exercise science. And my formal element was texture. So in Pablo Picasso's artwork, The Dog, texture plays a significant role in conveying the simplicity and essence of the subject. Texture in art refers to a surface quality or feel of an object, its smoothness, roughness, or softness. It can be actual where the texture is physically present and can be felt by touch, or implied where the texture is suggested through the artist's technique and use of materials, like in The Dog. Artists use texture to add depth and interest and realism to their work. enhancing the viewer's sensory experience. For example, in a painting, the artist might use thick, rough brushstrokes to create a textured surface, kind of like in the dog. Picasso uses short curved lines and shapes to create a sense of texture, which gives the drawing a unique, almost abstract quality. The texture is explicitly detailed, allowing the viewer to see the softness of the dog's fur and the smoothness of its contours. This approach aligns with Picasso's characteristic style of reducing forms to their most essential elements while still capturing the essence and personality of the subject.